So, while we're talking about Republicans claiming that they want to save lives, let's look at this data from Now This Impact. Feel free to stop and read, I'm going to read it anyway. In the Lone Star State between 2019 to 2022, the rate of maternal deaths defined as women who died while pregnant, during labor, or soon after childbirth outpaced the national average significantly, rising to 56%. Compared to 11% nationwide during the same time period. The stark increase occurred after Texas's ban on abortions after 5 weeks went into effect in 2021. What gets me is the SB-8 effect, as researchers are calling it, mostly impacted women of color. What gets me more is the SB-8 effect, as researchers are calling it, mostly impacted women of color. Worse, more research showed that in states like Texas, women are more likely to lack life-saving prenatal care due in part to the lack of medical doctors in the state able to provide that care. And, as someone who was living, actually, I'm just going to leave this up. As someone who was living in Albuquerque when this went into effect, there were a lot of doctors who relocated themselves to other states, particularly New Mexico, because it was just north of there. They could always, make the drive or fly back, and they did that because they would still be able to practice there. But as you see there, it's creating care deserts, and that is to say, that is creating there's nothing there. But of course, if you talk to a Republican about this, they're not going to care because it disproportionately affected Black lives. It affected Hispanic, Latino lives. This affected the people that they don't care about because this bill was created to protect full, all-white babies. And when I'm saying this, I'm looking at you, Houston. And I say this specifically to Houston because there's a lot of you, it's a larger Black population. You are Christian-based, so there's a lot of you who listen to what Trump says. I get it. Democrats and Republicans have screwed you all over. But this right here, what if it could have been something simple that could have saved another Black woman's life? It has nothing to do with protecting lives because they would have rather these women die. Let's review this again. The state of Texas, and those of you who continue to vote for these politicians who let these things happen, you would rather let a woman die. Yes, you are a part of it. If you did not vote, you did not vote against it. You made no strides against it. You are a part of the problem. And the people of Texas have spoken and said that a white woman's life, a white child's life, is of more value than a Black one, than a Latin, than Hispanic. So y'all do whatever you want to do, but don't ever bullshit us and say that you were touting, we're trying to save lives, we're pro-life. You're not pro-life. You are pro-white. Or say it the right way, y'all. Make sure to, emphasize the H in white. White. Make sure you're supporting them whites. Remember that those whites are more important than y'all because you let legislation like this happen in your own state. I look at Houston because there are a shitload of you who never fucking vote, and then you complain, well, the government doesn't like Black people. You know what? Do something or don't. Because if you don't do anything, you're not making the strides to get yourself voted, you're not contacting your representatives, and you continue to elect people who let bills like this happen, then you have nothing to complain about. I mean, there really is something to complain about, but if you are not doing anything, and I'm just stunned here because it's like, okay, this is supposed to be a pro-life bill. A pro-life bill that it increased the rate of women that were dying by 56%. Simple, life-saving measures that could have been administered. And the other issue is that women of color, that's Black women, Hispanic women, Latino women, they are probably not going to have as much money as their white counterparts in order to leave the state, to get care, to get that. But don't worry, Texas. Don't worry. The day is coming for the white women, too. Because once something like Project 2025 goes into effect, don't worry. Whenever you leave the state, when you're driving, when you're flying, they'll make you do a P test. You think they won't do it? They will. Imagine going through TSA and they hand you a little cup and it's like, all right, get to it. And let's say they find out, oh, you left the state pregnant and you came back no longer pregnant. Now you get to be charged with manslaughter. They will do it. The most infuriating part is seeing people who will not even help their own fucking selves. You could side with reason. You could side with fact. You could side with common human decency, morality, empathy, kindness. Everybody's body is their own to manage themselves. Why, and then the funny part is hearing guys who say, oh, well, we want smaller government, but you're okay with the government basically reaching up the skirt of every woman and telling her what she can do with her body. You're okay with that. That's not that type of government. You're cool with that. And that's essentially what it is the government reaching up a woman's skirt, just like Trump said, grab her by the you-know-what. And that's exactly what Project 2025, what Trump wants to do. He's proud of pulling back Roe v. Wade. He's proud of bills like this. He doesn't give a shit that 56%, the death rate of women who were giving birth that could have been helped, that went up to 56% in the state. Or for you true misogynists, you don't really view it as a problem because you just view it as less women. Problem solved, right?